And the Nigerian government has announced a raft of measures to end the retail feud with Ghana. This includes legal action at the ECOWAS court, as well as preventing Ghanaians resident in Nigeria from participating in retail trade. A Ministry of Trade and Industry task force here in Accra has in the last few weeks embarked on a crackdown on foreigners engaged in retail trade, insisting it is contrary to the law. The Nigerian traders last week demanded the intervention of their government. Listen to them as they allege the recent closure may be politically motivated. We'll hear from them shortly, but in the meantime, Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyama, says they hope Nigerians will not be used as pawns in a political game. He also revealed regional body ECOWAS will be called upon to intervene.
The President also met with Mr. President, the President of Ghana, and this matter was now resolved as we understood. But obviously, it has reared its head again, and it seems not to have been resolved. Now, to answer your specific question about the Ghana Code that talks about the retail sector being reserved exclusively for Ghanaians, is that it is in conflict with the ECOWAS protocol provisions, as you yourself mentioned. So this is something that we are going to want looked into at this non-respect of the ECOWAS protocol. You know, what is the point of having an economic community if at the end of the day each country will just make laws and regulations that are in contradiction of that. So I think that is an issue that has to be addressed. On the second question, that this has been a recurring, well, you can call it decimal, nightmare, or whatever, but it's been recurring. And what concrete measures are we to take to address it? Now, the first thing we want to do, first steps we want to take is to be sure about all the facts, to have all the facts before we act. So this will entail hearing from the Ghanaian government, the Minister of Trade. Our Minister of Trade is going to engage with his counterpart. We have summoned the Ghanaian High Commissioner, who has given us information. We have the intention of recalling our charge d'affaires in Ghana for consultations, and again to get the facts, because she's on the ground there. And we are also going to get in touch with ECOWAS to also understand clearly, you know, what the ECOWAS perspective on this is. You know, if this law is in contravention of the ECOWAS protocol. So once we have all the facts, then we will consider all our options, you know, with the Ghanaian government. So we don't want to anticipate now what our actions will be, but all the options will be there depending on the facts. Clearly, if it is contravening the ECOWAS protocol, then we would have to now look at an ECOWAS solution, including the ECOWAS court, you know, as a final arbiter. Okay, and then we also have to look at reciprocity. Ghanaians, as the progressive ambassador's president has said, have the full rights of operating within the Nigerian economy, you know. So we'll have to look at that whole issue as well, in terms of the concrete measures that can be contemplated. But again, as I said, we want to have all the facts, the laws, what they mean, who they apply to, the ECOWAS provisions, and so forth, okay? And, well, the question of $1 million to support the Nigerian businesses, well, that's the question itself is like accepting as a fait accompli what the Ghanaians, what the situation is at the moment. But that's one of the things we have to look into, whether it is correct in the first place to impose that burden, so whether the law itself is in conflict with the ECOWAS provisions. And if it is, then $1 billion does not even, is not legal, as it were. At least does not comply with ECOWAS provision. And then the other thing, of course, is that in the ordinary course of things, the government does not bail out private businesses operating outside Nigeria. We have enough of a challenge bailing out our own businesses here in Nigeria who are suffering from this pandemic before we now start going to bail out private individuals and businesses outside the country. So we just want to assure Nigerians that we are following this very closely. We're going to be proactive and keep you informed as we have this matter addressed. And we want it to be addressed in the shortest time possible. We know that there are elections, upcoming elections in Ghana, but we would certainly hope that, Nigerians will not be pawns in electoral gains and electioneering. Thank you.
Minister, saying that your last word, can we say precisely, because he also mentioned that, do we say that this resurgence could be as a result of the political, can we give a political meaning to that? Is it because of the politics?
No, not quoting me for that. What I am saying is that people are saying, he mentioned, for instance, this fact. So we are saying, as government, that we hope that that is not the case.
Now, I will be joined shortly by a Nigerian journalist via Zoom, but before that, let's listen to some of the traders.
Well, what you kind of nonsense is this? This insult is over. If you want to kill me, kill me. I will not go anywhere. Nobody will lock my shop. Even our people will come and lock it by himself.
You can't assess me. I don't money to pay your breaking out of authority. I have to lock my shop. What kind of wickedness are you? And you keep me here today. I'm not today. You keep me here today. You keep me here today. I'm not going to shop. I'm not going to shop. Why now? You are making me to be an robber. Anybody who is preaching me to be a generation of control to thief. The thief to the word end. And if God is not there to see, if Ghana is not in Nigeria doing business, not my cause, remain on me. But if they are there doing business and they are dragging me like this, Almighty God will judge. By name. Our shop were locked by Ghana Union of Traders, GOTA, since 1st December 2019. We are staffed for complete 8 months. On 2nd December, the interministerial task force came and opened the shop. They will accept you and give you a huge amount of money to pay to the Ghana Revenue Authority. Some were giving even $2,000, $3,000, $1,500. The least is $1,000. And within that interval of 1 month, we have made an effort to make some part payment on that, based on that assessment.
Let's spend a little more time on this story. Joining us via Zoom is Temple Asaju, business correspondent with Channels Television Nigeria. Also with us in studio is the head of communications at the Ministry of Trade, Prince Boateng. Mr. Boateng, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Danny.
Let me begin with you, Temple. How has this story been received in Nigeria, the eviction of Nigerian traders in Ghana?
It's been received with mixed feelings. Thank you for this opportunity, actually, and thank you for having me. But generally, it's been received with mixed feelings in Nigeria here. Of course, mixed feelings because this is not the first time this sort of attack has been heard of back home here in Lagos and Nigeria at large. And of course, we know that the governments of Nigeria and Ghana gets to come together and iron out these issues. Now, for that reason, Nigerians here are really positive about the fact that there will be some sort of a solution to this issue eventually. The only bone of contention again would then be that this is coming just about a month or two after the Nigerian office, two buildings at the Nigerian embassy in Ghana were demolished. So they keep thinking that what could be fueling all of these problems. However, yesterday we know that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, as he played back the clip a while ago, has calmed the nerves of a lot of these investors, both in Ghana and of course those that have their tentacles spread to Nigeria here, that look, we will address this, we'll get the ECOWAS to actually wade into the conversation and give us a better interpretation of these laws, of the ECOWAS protocol and how it relates to the Ghana Investment and Promotion Commissions Act, which is the one that actually guides the trade laws for foreigners in Ghana.
And how has this been received, Mr. Nyama's words?
Oh, yes. Folks are really bullish here on that statement alone. That has really calmed their nerves. But before now, it wasn't like we're going to have Nigerians that will go after Ghanaians that are involved in retail trading or wholesale business here. No. As a matter of fact, we had someone on the show here, on our program here today, talking about the fact that we do not need to have a reprisal attack. No, it's not necessary. What we just need at this point is a dialogue. And since the minister spoke yesterday, coupled with the comments that we've heard from the Ministry of Trade and Investment there in Ghana, that alone has calmed the nerves of a lot of investors, because these folks that have been affected in Ghana also have extension of their businesses back home here.
Yeah, help me understand this, Temple. How does this have impact with how business is done in Nigeria? You mentioned that there is an extension, there's a possible extension of some of these businesses in Nigeria. What's the impact there?
There hasn't been any impact. Instead, we have the businesses continuing, going on as regular as things have always been. I said that because one of the major markets that you have in Lagos, for example, is the computer village here. And if you go into computer village, you will find an average Chinese, you find other nationals there taking a walk on the streets and doing their business. Everybody knows that even those that are directly involved in wholesale transactions in the computer village also, one way or the other, gets to be involved in retail trading. And so things are really, really peaceful there. Again, there's no impact because the market only opens now for the fear of COVID-19 and for the measures being put in place by governments. It opens just 3 times in a week, and that will be Mondays, Wednesdays, and of course Fridays. So folks are just keeping their fingers crossed, waiting and watching when the ECOWAS community, the Economic Community of West African States, will wade into this conversation and get this whole matter sorted out. Because again, the eyes of Nigerians are on the ball. And I said that because your President Nana Akufo-Addo has actually just commissioned the AFCFTA building in Ghana. And this is something that everybody is hoping will help integrate Africa. So that's where Nigerians are really hoping that there will be some shared opportunity eventually. We'll be able to have Ghanaians improve their activities, their trading activities more, whether retail or wholesale in Nigeria, and vice versa there in Ghana.
Temple, give me a moment and let me come back to studio and speak with Prince Boateng, who is Director of Communications at the Ministry of Trade. First of all, have you heard what Mr. Nyama said about how Nigeria may proceed to the ECOWAS courts for some interpretation of how our laws are structured regarding the presence of foreigners here?
Yes, Daniel, I've heard him, and I've heard him clearly. I do not have any issue with him I do not have issue with any Nigerian, and for that matter, government of Ghana does not have issue with anybody who wants to use lawful means to get issues addressed. Ghana, and for that matter, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, through the Retail Trade Committee, is only enforcing aspects of provisions in our trade laws. And as far as we are concerned, the law allows us to do what we are doing. If anybody is of any contrary opinion, it is for that reason that some of these adjudicating bodies are there, and anybody is free to go there for interpretation, especially when the Deputy Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, who happens to be a Nigerian, Ahmed Wasi, is on record to have said at the ECOWAS Parliament that no ECOWAS country, and I'm quoting him, no ECOWAS country is allowed to export into another country what they do not produce. We want to encourage production, unquote. And so if for a country as Ghana that has embarked on this massive industrial transformation agenda, and we are looking at one district, one factory, if we produce eco juice in this country, or we produce these motorcycles, motorcane in this country, and we want to export them to any ECOWAS country, and for that matter to any African country, we are free to do so because the law requires that those goods must originate from member countries. We will not bypass what motorcane is producing here or what eco juice is producing here, go into China, go into Singapore, go and bring goods from there, and under the guise of ECOWAS, send them to Abuja or send them to Lumi. That is not what the laws say. And so we have no problem. If they feel that there are aspects of the law that they might want to test, we are available and they are free to go ahead. But the position of the ministry is that the closures must continue. The position of the ministry, and for that matter, government, is that the closures must continue, and they are continuing. And as I speak with you here today, my team is at Circle. It's from there that I came over to your studios, and they are continuing with the closure of the shops. Come tomorrow, we are moving to Opera Square, we are moving to Kantamanto, we are moving to UTC. From there, we are moving to Kumasi, we'll go to Takrady, we'll go to Kofodia. It's a nationwide exercise. It's a committee that has been set up by my boss, and until we have any directives to that effect, we are only complying with your boss being the Minister for Trade and Industry. Now, on the 31st of October 2019, I believe that's the date, Thursday, 31st October 2019, GhanaWeb.com, we need Nigeria more, Trade Ministry to Guta. Let me read to you what Carlos Ahinkra said in a radio interview. We cannot use one sector of our economy to fight Nigeria. It won't work. As a matter of fact, we need each other to thrive. What is happening in Kumasi, at the time I was in Kumasi, what is happening in Kumasi is very sad. As we speak, I'm in Nigeria, and we are doing everything possible to get the border issue resolved. There are products manufactured in Ghana and sold on Nigerian markets. This improves the forex position of our country. Then he goes on to say, their economy is 6 times ours. Why go fighting them when you need to appeal for their support? What has changed? Nothing has changed, because we are not fighting anybody. We are only asking that people should respect the laws of this country. Yes, we need Nigeria, but Nigeria also needs us. If they do not need us, they wouldn't be in this country. And so it's not as if it is we against them. It is for the broader benefit of us all. And so we are not on a war path with them, not at all. All we are saying is that, yes, we need each other, because we want to take advantage of the ECOWAS market, because we want to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area. It is for that reason that we are doing our best in terms of our productive capacity to be able to produce what is produced here in Ghana, to be able to send them to other ECOWAS and African markets, just as the Deputy Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, who is a Nigerian, as I've quoted to you, said that ECOWAS, no ECOWAS country is allowed to export into another country what they do not produce. We want to send there what we produce. That is why we are serious about one district, one factory. That is why we are serious about other government interventions, including the strategic anchor industries. You remember that during this COVID-19 era, we are into the production of our own PPEs. They are free to come for some of them. We are free to send them to other ECOWAS countries to go and sell, simply because they are being produced here in Ghana. We will not, under the guise of ECOWAS, under the guise of African Continental Free Trade Area, simply because we are hosting the Secretariat in Ghana. It does not mean that our sovereign laws have been thrown to the dogs. No way. The question, however, is that the conversation that we had in the past was that the ECOWAS protocols do allow for persons to engage in this level of business in other countries. Exactly. It allows for this
forms of engagement. However, in going about these trading activities amongst us, the laws of those countries have not been suspended. Otherwise, if national laws do not work as far as ECOWAS is concerned, I will not want to mention a particular country, but I'm sure you played the tape. Why is another country, who is also a member of ECOWAS, why did it close its borders such that Ghanaian goods that were being transported there and Ghanaian goods that were being transported from there into Ghana got stuck at the ports? You were quoting Carlos Ahenkra saying that they were leading the delegation to go and ensure that the goods will arrive. As we speak today, if it is today that those goods are coming, you and I are the best judges. Is any other country different from Ghana?
Let me get this quick thought from Temple. Temple, it looks like the Ghanaian government is resolute in its position to ensure that the local law is enforced, which local law means that, ironically, a few meters from where I sit at Tiptoe Lane, Nigerian traders cannot operate. What do you think this position would mean for the sentiments that you expressed earlier about Nigeria?
Well, point is, they will continue to keep their fingers crossed. As I mentioned earlier, you know that everyone is keeping their eyes fixed on the implementation of the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement. This is something that they do hope will eventually integrate Africa. I mean, because everyone knows as well that the losses that Africa records in dealing with other European countries or other countries or other countries of other continents compared to the little trade means that we have here is massive. So at the end of the day, the optimism is that we will see a situation where all of these continental laws, international laws, will be harmonized eventually. If needs be for countries and, of course, the ECOWAS, African Union, to review their laws, that will happen eventually, while we all interpret these old things, these old laws to favor all the countries that will be participating and that have signed or ratified the AFCFTA agreement. However, let me touch on the border closure thing. The border closure thing, I should say that those that are actually losing more are the Nigerian companies, because these are companies that are involved in heavyweight production, manufacturing, distribution across markets in Africa. They've got their products stuck at the border. They can't take them out of the country, neither can they repatriate dividends into the country, dividends as related to those goods that they had planned to actually export. I know a couple of companies that have actually been stuck at the borders with all of these, their products. Let me not go into that, mentioning names. And then again, the major border that has actually been shut to Nigeria is that of Benin Republic, and not so much of that of Ghana. Yes, Ghana is also affected in this regard, but what I know and what I've been able to gather from a lot of the listed companies and in fact private companies, manufacturers, factories, industrial giants in this country is that they are seriously at losses. They've also been appealing to the federal government to see how they can reopen the border and check the issue of smuggling more, because the main objective of shutting these borders is actually against the influx of rice that is coming in through Benin Republic, not from Ghana. And of course, the influx of firearms that are coming in through the borders of Niger and some other borders, but not Ghana. I think more the border between Nigeria and Ghana is even rather more decent compared to other borders. So the issue of border shouldn't actually come here at all.
Right. Let me go back. But you see, Temple, the fact still remains, and I remember very well reporting the story a number of times, that there were Ghanaian businessmen who were stuck at the border for quite a while. Regardless of the fact that Ghana was not targeted, you can't say that we were collateral damage when the border was closed.
Ghana is not a target. I agree there's a lot of goods and services are stuck at the border. I mean, it's been 1 year of the border closure at this point in time. As a matter of fact, on our station tomorrow, we will be ironing out, we will be treating this issue, looking at the gains and, of course, the losses that we have recorded. As a matter of fact, the losses are more than the gains in one context. In another context, the gains are more because we haven't had so much of imported rice from Thailand that finds their way into the country, into Nigeria, I'm referring to now, through the Benin Republic borders. But I know that the federal government has been in talks, of course, with the authorities in the Republic. They've also been discussing this. They're saying how we will be able to iron out. I know at the point in time, they actually gave out some vehicles to the Benin Republic authorities so that they can check the borders against smuggled items. But that didn't work. So the gains are there, but the losses are also there. And I think for the private sector, there's more losses than gains. But for the federal government, there's more gain because they don't have importation of firearms. And of course, their investments in agriculture has eventually paid off, as it were.
Let me come back to studio here. The fact still remains, Mr. Boateng, that we have seen the launch of the AFCFTA and the Secretariat. Exactly. It's being in Ghana means that Ghana is sort of a symbol for African integration. No matter what our local laws are, you would find that it's quite the image when you find that our brethren from our siblings from other nationalities are being dragged out of their shops.
It's an issue that you've raised, and I do not fault you for raising it. It's a very sensitive issue that needs to be addressed, I must concede. However, Ghana is very much committed to the implementation of the AFCFTA. It is for that reason that all African governments accepted that Ghana should host the Secretariat. And Daniel, we are not hosting this Secretariat on a silver platter. We are spending the taxpayers' money to host this. As I speak with you, the office building has been put up by Ghana, not with funding from the African Union. The residence of the Secretary General of the AFCFTA Secretariat has been acquired and fully furnished at the expense of the Ghanaian taxpayer. We will not make all these investments as a country if we are not committed to the implementation of the AFCFTA. However, I want to send a signal that even as we go ahead with the implementation of this agreement, nationals of Africa should not take it for granted that under the guise of Continental Free Trade Area, we will throw away the very objective for coming up with this agreement, which is that there should be more trade amongst ourselves, especially in goods that we produce. We should not be pumping money into the economies of other countries who are not Africans for their economies to grow, whilst we cannot trade in goods and services that are originating from African countries. We must discourage that. Any good that is being produced in Nigeria, in Cote d'Ivoire, in Togo, wherever, every African national, per the AFCFTA agreement, has the right to bring them into Ghana and to trade. However, in bringing them to Ghana to trade, our trade laws requires that you send them to some Ghanaians who will be like off-takers, wholesalers, and then the Ghanaians will go buy it from them and send it to the markets. Daniel, you do not come and give this phone to me for 100 Ghana cedis. I off-take it from you for 100 Ghana cedis. I'm in business not to make losses, but also to make profits. I put 10 cedis on it so that at least I can make some returns. Then you bypass me, bring this same phone that you have sold to me for 100 Ghana cedis, bring it to the market. You are not even selling it for 100 cedis. You are selling it for 90 Ghana cedis. How do you expect me to compete? Is that fair? These are some of the things that we are looking at. I agree, if there is the need for harmonization of certain laws, as far as the implementation of this agreement is concerned, Ghana has always been the champion of this, and we are in for it. So long as our territory will be protected, and so long as territories of other nationals will be protected, we have no problem. But until then, the laws of Ghana must work and must be seen to be.
On the 31st of October, when Carlos Ahinkwa was speaking, he believed in the law, but he did say clearly that we cannot go on an all-out trade war with Nigeria. Is that not what we are sparking here?
We are not on a trade war with Nigeria. We are on a sanitization path of our retail businesses. As we speak, the shops that have been locked, as I speak with you now, we have locked about 265 shops. Not all of them are owned by Nigerians. Some are owned by Lebanese. Some are owned by Pakistanis. Some are being owned by other nationals. Nobody is on a target attack on Nigerians. They are next door neighbors. Ghana and Nigeria, we date back. There are a lot that we have in common. Why would we go on such an attack spree on our nationals who more or less we have become like one? It is not at all.
I saw some scenes there where it almost got violent. From what we are seeing, people are being heckled, people are being dragged. It's getting violent there.
How on earth, Daniel, will anybody who claims to be law-abiding attempt to go on such a move with security agencies. That is something that we should not even countenance at all. We are there and everything was calm. Before going to Circle, we had been to Abusiokai. Whilst we were Abusiokai, everybody comported him or herself. We got to Circle and some people thought that they could defy the laws of Ghana. That will not be allowed. Calm prevailed, and when calm prevailed and everybody accepted that the laws must work, and it is not Ministry of Trade per se that is locking up shops, but we are there with the necessary regulatory institutions that are doing their work. Everything has been very normal from that day till today that I'm talking to you about. And so far, things have been very calm.
Since Mr. Boateng has referred to that day and what happened that day and is comparing it to other days, my colleague Manuel Kranting has tagged along with the team that is closing out the shops. Let's take a look at what happened on the second day we observed the exercise.
Receipt kitano ownership ni kitano we have say on this kind of Nigeria supply nyama and just nyama Nigeria.
I think every shop in Circle has to be closed down, but the other Ghanaian shop that is operating now, and the Ghana intelligence, no. So this is the document. This is the document that proves that Ghanaian. This is a name and everything. So why is it that they want to lock it up?
Yeah. So this is the second part of the exercise. It was started on 13th of August, about a week ago. Well, the Ministry of Trade and Industry is clamping down on all foreign-owned shops which really do not have documentation to do retail business. Well, a number of shops have been closed already, with some of them protesting and, you know, arguing that the shops are duly registered.
This shop is never a Nigerian shop. I paid it, and even I have not finished paying the money.
You have documents to prove.
This is the shop rent. This is the shop rent. This is my business certificate. I have my business certificate, my enterprise. You see, this is the shop. This man is the witness. He's here. He's the one who witnessed. When I was renting the shop, I rented the shop. The Nigerian people, some of them give me goods. I buy some of the goods with my own money.
To Nigerian shop, so this is against the law. And Nigerian shops na here too. And to over has some to Ghana shop more. They be. Say document.
Wow. If they said they are closing all the shops for investigation, why is it that the other shops are open?
We've been told that some of the people who occupy the shops actually allegedly connive and collude with some other people who are suspected to be foreigners, and then just front for them to be operating in the shadows.
We're a foreigner, Nigerian, and again a nearby front to a man.
This one is for a Nigerian, and he's just taking Ghanaians to front for him.
Our fat Ghana need not never see any back on this side, back on this side.
There is one here, one there, and another one in the corner. They must lock up the shop. The foreigners have connived with the Ghanaians to operate illegally here.
So in one of the shops that you can see behind me, it's about to be closed. Well, the officials say they've presented different documents as against what is written in front of the shop. The owner of the shop also says that she's duly registered, she has all the business documents and so on and so forth to prove that. But the officials are having none of that. They want to clear everybody out, lock down the place for them to proceed to the Ministry of Trade and Industry for clearance. But the ministry is not taking it lightly. It's clamping down on everybody who is suspect, is culpable in this particular activity. They tell me that they are acting on intelligence, and so for all the shops which are marked and are closed down, the owners, or if you like, occupants therein, must move to the Ministry of Trade and Industry for clearance.
After our previous notices that we're coming to lock, they will just try and do some fictitious documents. So they should just bring the documents. We have not said that Ghanaians cannot operate. I'm telling you that they connive and do a whole lot of things. Do you get it? So once we get the documents, we are able to interrogate, and then a clearance note is given, and then it's open immediately.
So, Mr. Boateng, did you get these documents? Did you finally find out if these persons are just fronting for Nigeria, for foreigners, or they are indeed the owners of the shop?
Daniel, some are fronting for some of these foreigners. However, we are not going into those details as to who is fronting for who. All we are interested in is that you must have documentation to the effect that you can do the kind of business that you are doing. We have given them a time to submit the various documents that they claim they have to the ministry. We will subject them to verification and validation. I'm not an expert in doing that. We have people from the Ghana Standards Authority who are checking for standards. We have people from the Registrar General Department who are checking for authenticity of the registration that they say they have. If it's about the business operating permits, the AMA and the Ministry of Local Government are there to help us to authenticate those. If it's about payment of taxes, the Ghana Revenue Authority is part of us. If it's about your residence and work permit, Ghana Immigration Service is on board. If it's about the GIPC, conformity with the GIPC Act, members from the GIPC are also part of the committee. You bring your documents, we subject them to verification, and if they are found to be valid, your shop will be open.
From what you tell me, it's very in-depth. There's a large team. Yes. Why don't you check every shop? Because, I mean, the GRA, the Ghana Standards Authority, they have jurisdiction over Ghanaians as well. Yes. So why didn't you check every single
shop? They have jurisdiction over Ghanaians as well. They have their day-to-day mandate, which they must exercise. However, this committee is not there to check for those day-to-day work that other institutions will have to do. Ours is to check that foreigners do not engage in retail trading. Let me inform your viewers that the team that is moving out is also inclusive of people from the security agencies. So the National Security is on board, the Ghana Police Service is on board. We do not just go and begin locking particular shops. Like you said, why is it that we are not locking up every shop? We are locking the various shops based on intelligence. Once we have intelligence that somebody is fronting for a foreigner, or we have intelligence that the person operating this particular shop is a foreigner, the shop will be locked. You should bring your documentation, and they are assessed, and you are deemed to have respected the laws of Ghana, which is all that we are looking out for. Your shop will be open for you.
Is this because of the election?
How can this be because of election? If it's because of the election, then we might as well not even be doing this, because some of these shops belonging to some of these foreigners. Mind you, it is not only these foreigners who are operating those shops. Some of them have your siblings and my siblings working for them.
But Guta as a lobby is huge.
Guta as a lobby
is much larger than the employees of these people.
That's what you may think. In as much as I respect the might of Guta, I also respect the Ghanaian whose daily bread depends on the operations of these shops. And no assessment has been done in terms of numbers to be able to know whether the Ghanaian employees there are far more than the membership of Guta. And so there is no way. Why? Satisfying Guta will also mean that government, if that is the position of government to win elections, government is likely to lose the votes of those who ply their trade with these foreigners. Why would government want to go on such a tangent?
Prince Boateng, thank you very much for joining us. He is Director of Communications, Ministry of Trade and Industry. I'll wrap up with Temple Asaju, who is a business correspondent with Channels Television. Any final words from you, Temple? Unfortunately, you muted your microphone. Yeah.
So Ghanaians and Nigerians are brothers and sisters. You can't have the tongue and the teeth without having skirmishes at some point when you're eating a very sweet and juicy meat. So there will certainly be some of these problems once in a while. But the point is, Nigerians are really bullish, as resilient as they are really bullish that this whole problem will be resolved eventually. And that's my parting word.
Thank you very much, Temple Asaju, business correspondent with Channels Television in Nigeria.